All right, grown Black folks talk, escape velocity, number 5. The necessity of putting people on a need to know basis. Now, as I said in the On Decline video several months ago, there are a lot of people who teach you moving in silence. And while I understand the concept, I don't use the concept because the thing about you have to know how to talk to the right people and get counsel from the right people. But there is a reality that that statement highlights. Now, I owe my understanding of this, at least in advance, to my own life coach from my mentor, not life. Her name is Coretta. She'll have some hours in next year, although I'm not quite sure when. But there are many very skilled life coaches that may have hours available before the end of the year. She said, as you go through the process of really beginning to change your life, you are going to meet a tremendous amount of resistance. It's a good thing she gave me a heads up. As you go now, even if you knew, and I didn't know at the beginning, that you don't have to have loyalty to systems and people who do not have loyalty to you, that's why this was the first video. As you begin to take in new information, as we talked about, as you begin to learn new ideas, as you begin to take in information from other sources that people around you have not considered, people around you may become uncomfortable because you're starting to sound like people that they don't like because they have not worked through the process yet of understanding that you have to be pro good results as opposed to looking at all the reasons why we don't listen to certain people because all of them may or may not have been at some point in history out to get us. You're going to start to make people uncomfortable. They're going to start pushing back. You can head off a lot of this by an old military term. My father is an Air Force veteran, so I picked up a lot of things just understanding what military life was like from him. So, need to know basis. The commanding general has a lot of information that he bases his orders on. But that doesn't come down to the captain. The captain needs to know enough of that information to be able to carry out his orders and give good orders to the men beneath him. All the way down to the private, who only needs to know what his orders are. Now, the more information people have, obviously the more freedom of action that they have. But if everybody is putting in their opinions and what they think and all this and all that, the Army's not going anywhere. So there has to be a structure. Not everybody is going to have the full flow of information because everybody does not need freedom to act on all that information. You have to think of yourself as the commanding general of your own life. Meaning that you do not need everybody's input. You do not need to have everybody's opinion in your ear. This is not that you're going to be giving other people orders, but you order your life. And unfortunately, if you are listening to escape velocity, you are escaping because there is a reason to do this. We talked about this in the second video. Most of the stuff that happens, it happens intra-group. Now, because this is grown Black folk talk, I'm very careful not to say want crime. I'm not going to do that because intra-group crime happens with any group. Intra-group struggle happens with any group of people. It's not just Black people. But you do have to consider this from the direction of we are a group of people that have struggled the hardest because we put between 14 and 20 trillion dollars. Our ancestors put 14 to trillion, 20 trillion dollars of labor into this country and received none of that. So we come from a position of being that much deprived while other people benefited from that labor and we didn't. So the struggle here can get to be on another level. And because of racism and because of prejudice outside information that has not come through here about 21st century ways of doing things as quickly as it comes to other people. Things have been withheld, but also because we have been damaged and we have not come to terms with how much we have been damaged. And because we also have prejudices of our own, because we are human, we are not always willing to consider other points of view that we feel come from people that mean us no good. And historically, we have seen many such occasions. But sometimes truth is just truth and right is just right, and it does not matter who said it. We did a video on how you learn from other people outside your group. All that being said, the people around you who are not doing the work that you are doing to reach escape velocity are still not going to understand. So you head off difficulty by putting the people around you on a need to know basis. It's like I have a blur on my background for these videos that I've done, 5 in total. I don't need you necessarily counting every pot. And I'm just wondering, you know, it makes a better presentation, but there are limitations, like, the dish towel that I dried my teapot with keeps popping out of the background. So that may end up being even more distracting. I look forward to hearing back from you, my listeners, my subscribers. Thank you for your feedback on that. But the point is, you don't necessarily need to know everything I have in my house. Not that I mind showing you. I haven't taken down any of the videos. We're just trying out something different this week. But I tell you about escape velocity. I tell you about steps that I'm involved in, but you notice I have not told you anything about how much money I'm bringing in or any of those things. You're on a need to know basis because you are the general public. And there's certain things that you have me that you do not need to know. For those of you who've seen me for a while, do you know where I work? Do you know what kind of job that I work? No, you don't. There's a lot about my life that you don't need to know about because, again, you don't need everyone. I try to model what I talk about. I don't need everybody's opinion on everything I'm doing. Now, on another one, we're going to talk about how do you get wise counsel. But this video is about put people, everybody, on a need to know basis. You can maintain certain friendships. Just there's certain things they can't process them. You don't owe them anything. You let people know what they know about. And you take people's opinions as a grain of salt. And I'll talk to you about that next time. All right. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.